There's nothing that those of us who find joy in watching reality television, there's nothing we love more than sitting in the comfort of our own homes in judgment of someone else.
Out for the...
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Mostly Harmless with Matt and Sarah. I am Matt.
And I am Sarah.
And together we...
keep mostly to a schedule.
Very, mostly, rarely, often, sometimes, negative.
Dude, life.
Strongly, and I disagree.
Yeah.
Strongly.
What?
I was going with the multiple choice questions. Rarely, sometimes, always, never. Strongly disagree, agree.
We almost mostly always have a show for you guys.
Almost, mostly, always. I like that.
Yeah.
I like our commitment to a lack of commitment.
You know when they say there's a will, there's a way? I mean, there's a will, for sure.
There's a will, and there's a way.
But life, man.
Last
week was rough.
I mean, every week is rough, but last week
in particular
was particularly
when
rough.
your week starts out with your air conditioning going out and it's a heat wave in Florida.
It's not even a heat wave, dude. It hasn't even started yet. This isn't even summer. This is spring.
Yeah.
Spring.
Just no good thing.
'Twas quite hot in this house.
Yeah.
But we fixed that problem. Then Penny got sick, and she's feeling better now. And you know, you just don't always have the time to do the things that you want to do.
Well, to do a show that requires both of us for
an hour
more than
plus,
5 seconds.
you know. And so it's just because if I lose my flow, if I have to get out of this seat, which I do sometimes through the magic of editing, you
Right.
don't notice. You don't notice, but maybe you do.
Yeah.
But I have to get up and then I lose my flow, you know, and it could be a heavy flow day or a light flow day, but I'll lose it all the same.
But have no fear because we are back in action and we are ready to talk about 1,000-Pound Sisters.
Kate Christmas, you asked for it, and here we have, it's already been broughten, right?
And
Thank you.
actually, had we done this a couple weeks ago, I don't think we would have been as energized to discuss. Like, we were going to cover it regardless, but neither one of us knew a whole bunch about 1,000-Pound Sisters. I've caught a couple episodes here and there over the years, so I know who the sisters are. I've kept up kind of on the controversies surrounding them, but I didn't know the show. But now we've kind of hopped around some of the earlier season episodes, but we've caught up on, I think it's season 7, up to Amy getting engaged at a strip mall haunted house.
Yeah, I wasn't super jazzed because the show didn't quite get its teeth into me. And so I was going to do a best of or cringiest moments or something, because you ask, we answer, regardless of my fervency or otherwise. But really, the first few episodes of the first season were, you know, had all kinds of things of which I could comment on, but it pales in comparison to what's going on in the most recent season that we just started, which we're current on, right?
Yes.
So, all this nonsense with, you know, once they lost the weight, who would have thought the show would get kicked into 12th gear of craziness?
There's a lot happening, and a lot has happened throughout these women's lives. And really now we're following the entire family. When the show first started out, I mean, the show's called 1,000-Pound Sisters because in the very first episode, we have Amy and Tammy weighing in at a scrap metal yard, a junk yard.
Yeah, and well, this is again one of the things that I feel, this is one of them with the names. I'm not even going to apologize
Amy
for it. This one
is the one with the colorful hair.
It's not going to help. But
Okay. She's the one who got bit by a camel.
Okay. What? Because I don't even remember which one at this point had said this, but one was like, "This is how we have to weigh ourselves. We drive up here, and then the car drives onto the thing, and they weigh the car, and then everybody gets out."
Gets out. Yeah.
And I'm like, first and foremost of all, you could go to Publix and weigh yourself.
No, but okay, so I do think that
no, I know
there
they
are
need
scales that go up to like 400, 450 maybe. I don't know of scales that maybe at like bariatric places they have scales
at the doctor's office. Even the one I go to has the big scale with like the handles on it. Like, not, I don't use that one, but I feel like they have it at a doctor's office, which, if we're being honest, is the only time these women would need to weigh themselves. So my point about this would have been is that I feel that this specifically was set up to be a jarring experience.
Right. So maybe it was a little bit for the show, a little bit production driven, but I think for Tammy, at least, it was probably also, well, shoot, where is she going to weigh herself? And we got to get a baseline, a starting point. So the starting point for Amy is that she weighed slightly more than 400 pounds. Mm-hmm. And then Tammy weighed slightly more than 600 pounds. Now, over the course, and please correct us if, I'm wrong. Because, Matt, you just watched what we watched together.
I'm also never
wrong.
But
over the years, so Amy's journey, she ends up getting the gastric bypass pretty soon after the show starts. And she loses a bunch of weight. She ends up getting pregnant. She has 2 kids with her husband, Michael, the guy who, like, never talks. He, like, doesn't utter a word. And they end up getting divorced. He didn't, the couple episodes that we watched with him, he just didn't talk very much. There were certain, one episode, it looked like he had been, like, have you been up for a week and not showered? Like, he just seemed
greasy,
run ragged. Yeah. And then in another episode, it was like, oh, you cut your hair, you look put together, you look like you're wearing a clean shirt. So good
it's
for
wild.
you.
Well, and that's what this show in particular seems to have. What it's not really continuity, but I'll call it a continuity error. Because when they go to the confessionals, like the interviews about what they're doing, even in this most recent season with the ziplining, which we'll get to that, not either of the 2 main sisters, but the other girl.
There's the third sister. There's Misty, Amanda, and Chris. So Chris is the brother. Yeah, Misty, Amanda, and then Tammy and Amy.
Yeah. Well, one of them was at the zip line with Tammy and Amy. Misty. Yeah. And she was. They were all kind of like in their leisure wear at the zip lining place. But cut to the confessional, and she looked all dolled up and nice. You know what I mean? So, like, these people can clean up well, but
boy, can we. And, I say we because, boy, can I slob up as well.
Clean up and slob down,
I can slob down, for sure. For sure.
But let's just get into it.
Okay, so right off the bat, we meet. So, at first, and I don't know how soon the producers decided, hey, we kind of have struck gold with this family. Let's try to include the whole family. I really enjoy seeing these adult siblings interacting in their data, like the ziplining. I love to see that it's 5 adult siblings, like being siblings. They have their whole childhood of history to look back on. They call each other bitches. Yeah. It's hysterical to me. And I was really hesitant, I'll be honest, to cover the show. I think I said this already, because I didn't want to sit here and just rail on someone's inability to control their weight because I am the pot calling the kettle black.
Well, and it's like, what is that? The low-hanging fruit. Let's talk about thousands. That's like saying I'm gonna, do a 600-pound life show and then not comment on people's weight. It's like we're gonna comment on it because it's essentially the framework
It's
of the show.
literally the title of the show.
But it's not, I don't want to sit here. That's one of the things I said to Sarah at one point. I was like, I kind of don't want to do this because I feel like I'm going to end up coming off as fat shaming of people.
Right.
And that was before I had watched a couple of the episodes because I'm like, all I'm going to get from this, if I'm going to binge this in a week, are the heavy people. Like, what else am I going to talk about? You know? And so there is so much more to talk about.
There really is so much more. The family dynamics is quite fascinating, very relatable. I find the sisters themselves to be very relatable. What's interesting and funny to me, kind of jumping around the way we did, is when the show starts out, and I know for years, because Tammy more recently got her weight loss. She was stubborn and difficult and kind of mean to her family members at times. Would refuse to do things, and then she would get like kind of pissy if things didn't go her way. In and out of like rehabs for food addiction. She was on a trach tube at one point for
because
breathing.
they're not on that anymore, right?
No. So Tammy has really been through it, and almost at times I feel like Amy was dragging her along like, bitch, I'm trying to save your life, like literally.
Well, and that's what I got from a couple of the episodes where it's like, in these situations, you're looking at people, and we've struggled with addiction of different kinds, and there's always that point of like, I'm gonna make it look like I'm trying, but I'm really just gonna bitch and moan and then go back to doing it, and that's kind of how it felt sometimes, where it's like, you take a few steps, I just can't do it anymore, I'm gonna go back and eat a hamburger, you know what I mean? And I'd do the same thing with booze. I'd be like, oh, you know what, today was a shitty day, I'm gonna just have some
diet starts tomorrow, getting sober starts tomorrow.
But like, don't shit a shitter, because you can call that when you've dealt with that shit, you can call that from a mile away. But like, it's like, I know there's a point where people will fatigue, I know there's a point where people will actually reach the limit, and then there's a point where people just want the pity party of like, I took 3 steps, give me my credit, now I'm gonna go eat Jack in the Box,
But what's really interesting is that it seems the dynamic seems to have flipped, and now Amy's kind of like, girl, what's going on? You're getting bit by a camel, girl.
She got all kinds of problems. Like, she goes out to, I don't know, what drive-through zoo did they go to? That
I don't know, but that seemed kind of cool, actually.
Well,
like, our kids
there's
would dig that.
There's a wildlife drive that we could take in our
Yeah.
neighborhood, actually. I'll have to get us the place. There's one we could do. It's pretty neat.
Okay, so the gist of the show is it's centered around these 2 super obese women, sisters, who are embarking on a weight loss journey. And this, I don't know for sure, but I think this was one of the first like reality show spin-offs that kind of took my 600-pound life, which was always just a one-off episode.
Was this an offshoot of it? Like, did they appear on the show?
No. But it seemed like the network was trying to kind of capitalize off of the fame, notoriety, popularity of my 600-pound life and follow like one set of sisters.
If there's one thing that people like at home is, regardless of what you're doing, seeing someone who's worse off than you and watching them on TV.
Sure, so that's why shows like Intervention are popular.
Love
Cops,
After Lockup.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting back into Love After Lockup. Yeah. I fell off of that show for a couple years, but I have been watching it all day today.
I mean, I could watch my 600-pound life and polish off a whole pizza and be like, well, I wouldn't eat what they're eating.
Put the bag of chips down. Yeah.
Yelling at them to stop eating. You're like, I'm okay. Here's some candy.
As I'm polishing off this carton of ice cream. Yeah. I think also that's why, because certainly in America, we as a nation struggle with obesity.
Do we? Us Americans?
Yeah. It's very relatable. And there's nothing that those of us who find joy in watching reality television, there's nothing we love more than sitting in the comfort of our own homes in judgment of someone else.
Well, what have I said about every reality show we've covered? It's not there for informational purposes. It's there so you can judge them, feel better, comment about them, and shit on. Because no one feels better than when they're shitting on somebody else.
It is the American way.
It's the American way.
So the one thing right off the bat that I noticed about this family is, okay, so it's 5 siblings. Poor Chris, the only boy. They've all struggled with their weight. So this isn't just a Tammy Amy issue. They've all had their struggles with weight over the years. Their mom is a piece of work. And I don't know if she gets better over the years or worse over the years. I have no idea. I'm just thinking of this introduction that we get of her. And she's like, I don't think they can do it. They always fail. And I worked 2 jobs.
Well, and didn't we get like a backstory of her being like the shittiest parent to these kids, and like the grandmother really raised them?
It seemed like there was definitely a lack of like positivity and a lack of encouragement in the household. That's for sure. I don't know if she straight up ever abandoned them or neglected them, but it didn't seem like they lived in a very like nurturing environment growing up. So she seems like a hard woman.
I don't feel like you can develop those kind of addiction issues without some sort of hole that you're trying to stuff filled with.
And I don't know if we ever, because in the episodes we watched, we never talked about a father. It was just the mother.
In the beginning, I only saw like the first episode, and then the kids dragged my attention somewhere else, and I that was it. And then I saw the 2 most recent episodes of the series.
Yeah, so I don't recall ever getting a backstory on a dad. If there is a backstory there, let us know down in the comments.
For me, this is basically my reaction to what Sarah has to talk about. The amount I've seen of this show is essentially me reading the title of an article and saying I read the whole article. So here I am to just go ahead and clickbait.
Oh, so of course we have to see a day in the life of like a grocery shopping trip, and then they go home. And this was in episode 1 or 2. And they go home and cook. And they made usually on like My 600-Pound Life, we see them cooking these massive, just tons of food, unhealthy food. But a lot of times the food looks good,
it's
right?
Always, my doctor said I could only have hamburgers, so I made 46 hamburger patties. It's like, okay.
Right. Like, I'm keto or something. I don't know.
Look, it's paleo.
It's paleo or whatever. I'm on the carnivore diet. But the food that Amy was making, because Tammy was essentially just sitting there watching her make the food or assisting her in combining ingredients, but it looked so unappetizing.
Well, they went to the grocery store and they picked up so it was ground pork, but or beef or some sort of amalgamation of the two. But the length of it is, if you've ever been to a deli and you've seen a full pork loin, that's like this fucking long, right? It's this long and it's this wide. It's huge.
Yeah.
And that it's something that you would buy, slice up and freeze, or you'd sell, or not sell, but you'd use it in a large kind of gathering of some kind. Well, that was just fucking breakfast for these people. And so like I watched them, they get home, open it up and just spit the whole thing into a pan. And my first thought is, there ain't no way that whole thing is cooked all the way through. There's no pan in the world that's going to cook that food all the way through. So maybe they're just trying to lose weight with the tapeworm they're ultimately going to get from the uncooked pork.
Well, so one of the comments that I think it was Amy made early on, she goes and they're talking to one of the doctors that they see about how much soda they consume. And they all drink a lot of soda. And, Amy is like, well, I always thought that if it was diet. It like negated the calories.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was like, I've been there.
No, they said when they were kids, they would eat something shitty and then drink a diet soda.
Right.
Because it balanced it out.
No, I did the same thing.
Right.
I do the same thing.
Okay, you're wrong now, and you were wrong then.
I understand that. And you cognitively know that, but I'm not like, okay. If anyone has ever worked in fast food or pizza or even a restaurant, how many times and you've been a server, you're jotting down an order. Give me the gravy covered this, that, blah, 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 and a Diet Coke.
And a side salad.
We all do it. So I found that to be incredibly relatable. Yeah, you sit there and laugh because it sounds absurd. But I do it. I still do it to this day. Will I have a Twinkie or a yo-yo or whatever those are called?
First of all, you have had neither of those
What
things.
are the things I just bought? Ho-ho, yeah.
Twinkies, never.
No, I don't think I've ever had a Twinkie, actually.
Ho-hos are delicious.
Well, yeah, but would I eat
and they're
ho-ho
a vegetable.
And then have a Diet Coke and wash it down? Call it a day because all I had to count for calories was the ho-ho and not the Diet Coke? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It just sucks it right out of you.
And there is the logic of the forever yo-yo diet.
Well, and I used to drink a enormous amount of soda when I was in middle school, high school, early college. And I was a big Coca-Cola fan. I would drink Coke, a lot of it, like big bottle. I always have a 12-pack. I'd bring it to people's houses like it was a case of beer. You know what I mean? And just crack them open and enjoy it. And yeah, so I get that. I'm like, but at some point, I don't know when, I started drinking sparkling waters instead. I think it was when I started working at The Bachelor because that was what the fridge was filled with LaCroix. And at first, I probably didn't like it that much, but now I don't drink sugary beverages at all. And if I drink something that has sugar in it, even a low sugar thing, like it's so sweet. And somehow I made that transition. And I'll have a soda. I'll still have a Coke every once in a while. I'll drink my thing is I'll have what do I have? A cherry Coke Zero. Will be like what I'll have at lunch or something like that. But mostly I just drink water and
coffee.
Lots of coffee. But coffee really is a net zero. Black coffee, no calories, all caffeine, all fun, all the time. All day, all night.
Yeah.
All right.
So these two sisters have been through a lot. And I guess we kind of throughout the years follow them on their journeys. Tammy, well, we saw one episode where she was dating this guy named Jerry, who I think was what would be referred to as like a feeder. People who have like they fetishize. Why can't I say that?
Fetishize.
Anyways, that word. Obese people, and there's a part of satisfaction that they get in either watching them eat or feeding them food. And, it was not healthy for Tammy to be in a relationship like that because she has had so many health problems that being with someone that wanted to see her gain more weight was incredibly unhealthy and toxic for her. So as we get to season 7, Tammy has now lost 500 pounds.
That's wild.
One of the things we skipped over, you and I, but I actually did watch a couple episodes of when she had met this man in one of the rehab facilities she was in named Caleb. They get married and he passes away. It was super tragic.
That is
very,
pretty sad.
Very sad. And that wasn't that long ago, like a couple years ago. So now Tammy has lost 500 pounds. She really needs skin surgery, and I'm getting kind of irritated on the show. She just got cleared, and I know she needs to like quit smoking or vaping or whatever it is that she's doing, and they can't send her into a risky situation, but I'm like, her quality of life is being inhibited by this. She has a severe amount of excess skin.
Right, but who are you mad at? The show?
No, well, I don't want, like, are we fucking around for the sake of production value? Like,
Probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
don't know.
But that
Like,
Dr. Giggle fuck, like, making jokes, remember?
Like, when they played the prank on the brother.
The most deadpan prank ever.
Brother, could not have cared less.
Brother's sitting out in the waiting room, and she gets approved for weight loss or for skin removal surgery.
Yeah.
And the doctor who's trying to make himself a character, it seems like he really wants his 15
He seems
minutes.
like a nice enough guy.
Yeah, it seems like he was trying a little too hard. And he's like, oh, we'll play a joke. We'll go out there and pretend like you're... And she walks out and she's like, oh, I forget. She kind of just came out like, oh, no, I'm really sad. And it's Chris. Is that the brother's name?
Yeah.
He's like, huh?
Yeah.
And then the doctor basically, she's like, I got approved. And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, we got you. And he's just sitting there like, she came out and said she didn't get approved. And then she said she got approved. And I was like, okay. And I was like, that's a very accurate description of what just happened. Thank you very much. I like him. He's good shit. But it's like, yeah, that just let's make a prank on this unnecessarily.
Well, I guess, and we looked it up, the whatever levels that she had that were low because her protein, she wasn't getting enough protein. And we looked up what her results came back at with that latest round of tests. And it was actually in the normal range. And they were like, oh, it's still low. It was on the low end of normal, but it was in the normal range.
And I said the same thing to you that time.
Yeah.
I'm like, when people I get when you're testing people to see where they're going, like, oh, that's the low end or that's the high end. I'm like, but if you're in the range and that's what's qualifying you for something, it's annoying when people are like, yeah, but we want you higher up in the range. Well, if you want it higher up in the range, then make the range less of a range. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't be on the bookends, then why are the bookends there?
If the range is like 1 in 50 and you don't want to take one,
so then have it be 15 to 35. And that's what bothers me, because it's like, if my goal, especially in a situation with these women where the stuff it's struggling, it's really hard, especially when now a lot of their weight is skin. It's not something you can lose. So like when you're trying to crawl to the goalpost, well, now you're telling me that I'm in the range, but I'm not in the higher end, like the range 2.0, and that's the kind of stuff that's frustrating for anyone.
And this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because imagine you say you're good, but you're not great. We want you to be excellent.
And already, I think all of these people that we're seeing on like My 600-Pound Life and things like that are outside the range of what a like normal bariatric surgeon would operate on. Like on My 600-Pound Life, they have to lose 100 pounds to even get the surgery. And even then it's super risky. And Dr. Now is one of the specialized surgeons who is uniquely qualified to operate on people that big.
Sorry, from what I understand about the 100-pound benchmark for a lot of those people is that's not so much that they need to lose the weight to get the surgery. It's to prove that they can lose the weight and not just to get the surgery and then just continue to eat. And because you see people eat right through these things and gain back up there, you have to change your lifestyle habits.
I do think that they have to be under like
probably
500
I think it's a little bit of both, because I know that I think they've mentioned as much as it's like it's not just about, you can't just take the magic pill and have it go away. Like you have to show us that you've changed your lifestyle to make it worthwhile.
Right, for sure. So Tammy, on the heels of her husband passing away, now she is dating a woman, and she is very nervous to tell her family, but her family all seem to be like, all right, like we don't care. Why did you think we would care? Type of thing.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, probably because they would care.
Probably. Well, but the way it came off to me is like, yeah, of course we don't want you. Of course we don't have an issue with you dating a woman. Just don't do any of that gay stuff, okay? Like, you know what I'm like that's kind of how it felt a little bit. Is like, but just jokingly. But it's just like you just kind of seem like the people who might not be as open with this stuff.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, maybe because Tammy knows you guys.
Right.
I don't know. Like they all were like, why do you think we would care?
It's like, I have a good gauge of what my people, my family, I know what they'll do. Maybe someone who doesn't know you too well wouldn't have a good answer, but you've known these people for years.
So good on Tammy that she told them on camera.
Yep.
Way to just really set the results you want.
I know that you will not answer inappropriately if I ask you in front of the cameras.
Exactly.
Because a few conversations later, it definitely felt a little bit of...
But you know what? Tammy could really go balls to the walls and do some crazy shit right now, because nothing that Tammy is doing even comes close to the shenanigans that is Amy right now.
I don't know how one can put themselves in the multiple shitty positions that have occurred in just the 2 episodes of this season so far.
Oh, let's talk about the camel bite. So they go through this drive-through zoo, which I have questions for people that have gone through drive-through zoos before. And the animal comes up and eats out of your hand or whatever. How this seems like a risk that I probably wouldn't take if I owned a drive-through zoo.
It's certainly a liability waiver before you get in there. No, you don't. Right. So I don't know if it's the same on the wildlife trail. That
camel took a fucking chunk out of her arm.
Yeah, but so the drive-through zoos. They definitely exist. I've never been to one. There's all kinds of like wildlife trails, like this one that I do want to take us on that's not too far away from where we're at. But I am certain that the before you go on one of these travels is where you can roll your window down, and because there are ones where like lions have jumped on people's cars. Like
no, but that's like a safari and you have a guide and whatever. Like you're not in your own car.
But I'm imagining that I'm sure the people who own the zoo are insulated from any kind of liability, because you are letting people.
It seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I don't know much about camels. I wasn't aware.
Me neither.
Wasn't aware that they enjoy the taste of human flesh.
I didn't know that they were native to Kentucky. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, the Kentucky camels.
Yeah, the Kentucky
over the desert dunes.
Is that Joe Cool?
Joe Camel, baby.
Joe Camel.
Hell yeah, hump day.
The cigarette
hump day. I miss smoking. I miss it.
So here's the thing though, because I remember before I even watched the show, the TMZ notification pop up, 1,000-pound sister star Amy gets arrested and get at a zoo. She got bit by a camel. I'm like, what? Like that sounds like a wild story. So we see it play out on the show, and Amy, the way she puts it on the show is that she gets bit by the camel. They go to the hospital. Then at the hospital, the police officers read her rights because they found marijuana in her car.
You neglect to tell them about the bite itself was so bad that fat was coming out of it. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was disturbing
gnarly,
to see.
Gnarly.
But, so yeah, they get to the hospital. The cops search the car.
So I have so many questions on that. If you call 911, there's a lady here. She got bit by a camel, and
after the laughter subsides,
a paramedic shows up. What would prompt a police officer to search her car?
I don't know. And there's some pieces to this puzzle missing.
Yeah.
But
well, one of the pieces of the puzzle that they conveniently leave out of the show is that it wasn't that they found like a joint or a gummy or something. They found a pretty substantial amount of marijuana, like more than just like someone who has like a card and just went to the dispensary or whatever. They found like a good amount, and they found magic mushrooms.
Oh, yeah. Yup. And that's what I was talking to Sarah about this. I was like, I'm curious if TLC did not want them to mention the magic mushrooms, or if they didn't mention it because maybe she didn't realize that she was going to be prosecuted for it or whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole case, it's funny because she seems to be under the impression that this trial, this case against her is about the possession charges, when I'm almost certain, yes, it's lightly about the possession, but it's the child endangerment aspect of it. But I think
they ended up, from what I read, they ended up dropping all the child neglect, endangerment, everything to do with her kids. I think they dropped.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Because I can abide. If you got some pot, go nuts, whatever. I'm like, no
but
one's...
not with your kids.
Yeah, well, no, don't do it around your kids. But
Yeah.
if you just had it and you would just, maybe you just got from the dispensary and you're going to put it in your fridge or wherever at home,
Right,
whatever.
but it wasn't that.
No, it was not that. But like, so...
And
like,
was that what the camel was going after?
Maybe-
Was Joe Cool trying to
the
get
camel
cool?
wanted the mushrooms. You know what I mean? I mean, having a good old
That's
time.
what I'm saying. Did the camel say, what do you got in there? Because do camels just go rogue and start biting people? Like, is that a risk?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So many questions. Well, the drama doesn't stop there, because Amy, as one does when you have a new boyfriend in your life that's not exactly making the best impression on your family, you invite your sisters to come with you to a strip mall haunted house.
Like you do.
And then you get super boo hurt when they don't jump for joy at your engagement.
So I'll point out that this family is moderately religious from what I gathered.
I don't know how religious they all are, but I think Chris and his wife is very religious.
And it's some form of Christianity, whichever one.
Yes.
And so from my knowledge of Christianity, marriage and the ceremony is pretty sacred. It's one of the sacraments in Catholicism. And so someone who's religious would probably say that if you not only propose at a shitty haunted house, but then you choose your wedding location to be an abandoned insane asylum, that maybe you'd be taking the sacrament of marriage a little lightly.
I think, and one of the sisters tried to tell her that, like bare
bones,
feels
hey,
like you're not taking it seriously. Also, like the majority of your family is religious and feels super uncomfortable about like just the whole idea of, dude, when we got married, we had to broach the subject of getting married outside with our families because we come from church marrying folks.
Oh, I got a lot of the old Irish wouldn't even come to your wedding.
Well, does it count? I shit you not. Conversations were had. We had to check with the pastor marrying us. Like, this counts, right? Even if it happens outside. My goodness. So yeah, I get that, like people that put a lot of reverence around a wedding probably wouldn't be jazzed at the, just the unseriousness with which they were approaching.
Well, and it's even in our
all of it.
Even in our life, it was we had there was there was religious readings during our wedding, and that's part of our whole jam. And one of the people we invited to the wedding was like joking with us later, being like, but not like, oh, I thought your wedding was great, but all that religious stuff, blah blah blah. And I'm like, first of all, douchebag, I saw you didn't care much about the open bar while you were sitting there shitting on the religious stuff at our wedding. I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't ask you about what you wanted while at my wedding. You know what I mean? Like, so some people can sit there and then make fun of what you do at a wedding, and that's fine. I'm like, but if you want to sell it to religious people that you're going to have your wedding at an abandoned insane asylum, like, and the way that she gets so like immediately like, I guess nobody's gonna come to my wedding. Then I'm like, well, yeah, because everyone just told you that they don't plan on attending that ceremony, and they'll see you afterwards because that's an offensive thing to them.
But also, it's like, Amy, take a step back, girl. Like, you just got arrested with this guy. I don't know how long they've been together.
Oh,
but
and they went to the court date, and it was pushed a month. So you still don't even know what's going to happen for another 30 days.
TBD.
Yeah.
Big cliffhanger. But it's like, okay, so this is a new boyfriend. I think that her breakup with Michael wasn't that amicable. I think that there was some contention there. I'm not 100% sure on that. But okay, so you get divorced, you're out of this marriage, and now you have a new boyfriend who it seems like the family is kind of wary of. You get arrested and bit by a camel.
Yeah, they don't seem to like this
Your
guy.
sister has to come and pick up your kids because you're getting fucking arrested. Like, not a good look. Then, okay, I'll give it to Amy. Maybe she didn't know that, I forget the guy's name, but new boyfriend, that he was going to propose. But he does. And, two of her sisters are there, and they're like, this is weird.
Imagine you're working at the shittiest haunted house in a strip mall because it's a fucking strip
Imagine you're
mall.
at Spirit Halloween.
And you're you're like sitting there trying to do your fucking job of scaring people, and some asshole pops down on one knee to be like, oh, this is where I'm gonna get. I would be like, great guy. I'm like, I just got into character with my chainsaw, right? I just got into character. I'm supposed to chase you down and try to murder you, but no, you have other plans. Like, think of the people. No one ever thinks of the people anymore.
No, they hardly do. So, and then okay, maybe your boyfriend, fiance doesn't know your family, but you know your family, and you know how religious they are. You know how serious or not they take weddings in general. And even if this was super your thing, you're totally into Halloween, you're just like that kind of quirky, and that getting married in an insane asylum would totally be your jam.
Go nuts.
I'm sure. I actually think that her family would understand that. The thing is like, all of this is happening so fast, and it's like they've already see that you're making these like really questionable life choices.
Yeah, what it feels like.
It's like you're spiraling, girl.
Well, and it's like, hey, if that is your jam, go fucking do it. We'll see you at the reception.
And this is why I like this show, because have we even talked about their weight in the last 10 minutes?
There's more important things to
There's
talk about.
way more important things.
But it's like not everybody has to be on your same page. Like, you want to do that? Go ahead. People do stuff like that all the time. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But you can't expect people to blindly, regardless of the situation, put aside everything for them, like that they believe in, to acquiesce to what you're up to.
I do think that Chris's wife would not attend out of her religion in reverence to her religious convictions if it was held at a cemetery or a insane asylum. I think from what I've gathered with what people are talking about, she really is very religious. I'm not sure about her other family members. I think that if they knew that this was Amy's thing and they really liked the guy and they just were kind of spooky people and that was like their bond that tied them together, I think that they would probably go. The thing is that Amy is like, if you're not 100% in support of me, then you all hate me.
Right. And there's no middle ground.
Right.
And that's the other issue is people who are just, they exist in solely in definitives.
So,
either you're with me or you're against me. It's a very Cody-esque kind of thing.
Yes. So then the siblings plan this like mini intervention type thing for Amy, which goes spectacularly.
Didn't she like, they call her like, hey, come on down, we're all here, and she's like, is this an intervention? And they're like, no, it's not. And then she shows up and she's like, well, okay, it's kind of like an intervention.
Yeah, but they really just wanted to talk to her. And again, these are all adults in their 40s, 50s, I don't know, but I think they're all...
they're like mid-30s. Remember? They were 30. They were like, the two main sisters in the first season were 30, like 2.
Oh, that's right.
And it's only been on for 7 years. Yeah, like, and boy, you wouldn't know it.
Well, because some of them have like grown children. I think Amanda just became a grandmother. So
I could not believe when I heard their ages, because when they were in the first season, I think they said they were like 31, 32, 33, something like that. And I'm like, and you know, you see them and they're big and they just, you feel like they're 50, because of the way that your body just does not take anything. It's just like, okay. So, but these are adult siblings. Yeah. And, we're adults. We have siblings. We are adult siblings.
We are, God. I laugh because my brother's name is Matt.
Yeah.
Not this Matt. You are not my brother.
We're on that Florida Georgia line, baby.
Anyways, but it's nice to see a close-knit bond between adult siblings because, life takes you in various directions. And I think that's part of what I'm enjoying about the show is seeing that these adult siblings can have a career that is based around them being a family. I think that's really cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Not a lot of people get to spend time. Like all my family, like my brother and my mom are down here, but my other brother and sister are up in Boston, and I've lived on multiple coasts.
Right. Yeah.
So
I live here. My brother lives in California. It gets really difficult. Yeah.
So, but you do what you do.
Exactly. So, anyways, that's one of the aspects of the show that I'm enjoying is just seeing like grown adults that are siblings come together and they're still like getting their jabs in and stuff. But so they all care very much about Amy, but it's really interesting because when this show first started, Amy was very much the one who I perceived as like having her shit together more. She was more serious about the weight loss. She really wanted to have a kid. She was married. She had all these like check, married, check, wants to have a kid, check.
Penny was into checklists for a while.
Oh, she was. Now it seems like there's been a role reversal. And so that's really interesting. Tammy is sitting there. Tammy weighs less than Amy now. Oh my gosh, we have to talk about the ziplining.
I don't know why. I get it. And it goes ziplining. If I was heavy. I'm still heavy, but like I was 315 pounds. There are things I would not do because I'm a heavy person and big trees fall hard.
Well, first of all, I have never seen ziplining like this. Any zip lining that I've ever seen is you go from one area of higher elevation to another area of slightly lower elevation. I've never seen that you're essentially on like a roller coaster track.
Well, it's a track.
Just hanging like getting flung around.
I've seen videos on Facebook where that's like the jam. Like you go and it's like a lot of zips and turns and stuff like that.
Oh my God, that looked terrifying. Straight up, not a good time. I would have been the Amy and just been like, I'll go. I don't know why there was
gold.
I don't know why there was gold mining there as well.
It
but
seems like
that's where I would have been.
It seemed like what do you call it when you're driving, like doing a road trip and there's one of those stupid things you have to go, like a tourist attraction. It seemed like and so every tourist attraction, my family and I would drive to Florida occasionally growing up, and every tourist attraction for some reason always had a place where you could pan for gold. And it wasn't real gold. I mean, it was like you're panning for rocks that they threw in. And
I think they actually showed her dumping her like bag of dirt into the trough and then but that's where I would have been. Because miss me with that. No way.
I would have done the zippy because I have a need for speed.
No, I don't like to feel herky jerky.
I plan to go skydiving at some point. I do not plan to tell you when so that you can't put up any take out the extra life insurance policy. But no, stuff like that. But it is like, I say this every time. I know I come from having worked in reality TV, so I know what the producers of these shows do to get people to watch shows. So when sometimes something you might think is an organic thing is not. So what do we do that's going to give us a new lease on life? Well, these once heavy people are going to go zip lining and bungee jumping in the same episode. And that's funny because it's stuff they couldn't do before, and we're going to get them to do it now. Watch and see. Because let's be real, I don't genuinely think this family are world globetrotters. I don't think they're constantly going out to do these kinds of new experiences. I think they're happy they lost the weight that they lost, and they still want to just kind of sit around the couch. You know what I mean? They don't just seem like they're like, hey, today we're going on a 50-mile hike. You know what I mean?
What was absolutely savage about this place, which I am choosing to believe this was 100% producer driven, because as a person that has been overweight all of my life, I have done horseback riding and parasailing and activities that have a weight limit. And it's very much always been on the honor system. I've never weighed in to do an activity before. So, with that being said, it was absolutely savage to see them bust out a scale and make everyone get on.
But not even, you're talking about savage. You're missing. It literally was walk up, and I'll paraphrase it, but it says like, hi, we're here to do our zip lining. Great. Scale. Like they were like, first things first. All right, no bullshit. We need to weigh each one of you. And they did it. And then Chris gets on it. They're like, and Chris, it's 270. And then the guy steps on the scale, and it's like, he's like 270. They're like, all right, we got a guy who's, remember they put him in,
my God, yes.
They put him in the thing. They strapped him in. So he was at the top of the range of normal. He's the high end of the range. And so that's what we call a callback, folks. Yes. It's a callback. And he gets on the zip. They strap him in, and they straight up radio the guy on the other end. And they're like, all right, he's on the top of he's 270 right at the top of the range.
Big load incoming.
Make sure that you catch him because we don't want to ruin the brakes on this guy. They said it. Meanwhile, homie's right there. And right, like that's like me saying, like, I don't want my wife to hear about this, so I'm going to talk as quietly as possible. Like,
absolutely savage.
Oh yeah.
And this is the thing. I'm into this show. My Tuesday nights now are 1,000 Pound Sisters and Polyfam.
No, because isn't this on at 10 o'clock at night?
No, Polyfam is on at 10 o'clock. 1,000 Pounds is a much more reasonable 9 o'clock hour.
You're out by 8:30.
I know.
Your Wednesdays are going to be this show.
Well, I mean, but even so,
yes.
I'm very happy to have this show. But Kate Christmas, thank you so much for the recommendation.
Yeah,
this was so much fun.
Like I said, we do respond to any and all. I don't think there's much you could throw out there that I wouldn't at least devote 10 minutes to. If it's something that I really am not interested in, and if it just happens to be something neither of us can sink our teeth into, at least we'll address it, and that'll be the end of it. Like, hey, watch 15 minutes of it. It was dog shit. Can't fucking watch it, And there's good dog shit and bad dog shit. Like, this show is good. That fucking Seeking Brother Husband was moderate dog shit.
So disappointing. Yeah.
But
Polyfam. Whoa.
I'm enjoying.
We're circling back.
I'm enjoying
to
that show. I'm enjoying this show now. I'll watch them here and there. I'll probably do watches as we go, and we'll bring it up as we go. But yeah, that's it. I thought this is a good show. I like that. Again, yeah, it is nice to know that there's a lot more to talk about than just their weight, even though the show's title is their previous weight, but it's about how heavy they are.
Tammy, so we get a weight on Tammy now. She weighs 220 something pounds when she weighed in at the ziplining.
Yeah.
And that it was so heartwarming. I was so excited for her. I have absolutely no interest in doing this herky jerky zipline. But she is like, oh, I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie now. And she had such a blast, and she was able to do it. Something that she probably would never have even thought, oh, I could do that one day. So I was really happy for her. As someone who, I can fit into clothes that I never could fit into before.
I put on your medium shirt earlier today. Well, it was on my side of the closet, and it looked like one of my shirts.
What? It wasn't absurd. It didn't look absurd.
So I go into the closet, and I only wear one kind of shirt, as you can tell. It's just different colors of the same shirt. If you haven't figured it out yet, there's only one time I wore a hockey jersey over one of those kind of shirts, but I really only wear one shirt, and that's it. And I went into my closet, and I saw a sand colored shirt. I have two of them. I'm like, oh, I'll wear that today. So I put it on, and it was a little tight and a little short, and my arms were a little more exposed. And I was just like, but I didn't right away. I'm like, something's weird here. It's like, Sarah, I think I have your shirt on. And I'm like, it fit as good as the large shirt that I had when I was going from extra large to large. So I'm not quite a medium yet, but I'd like to be. I'll get there soon. I'm going to get small. I'm going to be extra small. I want to shop.
You're going to be a string bean.
I want to shop at the American Girl doll store for clothes.
You are way too tall for that, my dude. Way too tall.
But that's all we got today about the 1,000-pound sisters. We do have another request that came in from the website. Ooh. This request is from Jenny T. She says, hi, Matt and Sarah. First, thanks for your podcast. I'm a fan. Thank you for listening. We're a fan of you as well. I hope this is how to reach you with the podcast idea. I couldn't quite figure it out. Well, I do mention this is exactly how to reach us with a podcast idea, so you figured it out. If you haven't watched the documentary Don't Die, The Man Who Wants to Live Forever, you should. It has all the things: religious trauma, LDS, money, weight, and exercise issues, addiction, narcissism, and lots of head-scratching crazy. And the dude has followers, so maybe like a Twin Flames kind of situation.
Oh, gosh.
Regardless of whether you can turn it into a podcast, I thought you'd enjoy it. Peace. Jenny T. Peace to you. Peace be unto you, Jenny T.
And also with you.
So we'll look into that this week. It might not be the next one. I don't have anything lined up for the next one. It might be polyfamily, but we got to get into it. So it could be next week. Who knows? But I'm into it. It sounds up our alley. So I'm interested. Yeah. Find us on all the social medias. Do mostly no harm anywhere social medias can be found. And if you look somewhere and you can't find us, let me know and I'll make an account because I don't know all the social medias. You can go to our website, www.level42studios.com, to submit a request. You can read any of the weirdo scripts I put up there that I used to make. You can check out all of Sarah's shows, all of our shows. Sarah's 2 different channels are all hosted. You can watch every one of those right on the website, or you could go to YouTube to do that as well. And you could submit any kind of things through the contact page. Other than that, we got to go.
All right, you guys.
So what do? We do mostly
no harm. Have a good day.